That's not a plug, that was off the record. Well, it's great to be back in New Hampshire. Some of you know that my privately owned vehicle, as we call them, POV, has a New Hampshire plate on it, because this is our state of residence. But the truth is, we do this every 3 or 4 weeks or so. We'll group together a variety of different opportunities with universities and think tanks and so forth. On this particular trip, we're going to do here at St. Anselm, and then Yale tomorrow morning, BYU out in Utah tomorrow afternoon and evening, and then finish up at University of South Florida, right back near where we are there in Tampa. I'm delighted to be here, and I am happy to take your questions. What I will do is, if I could, I'll call on you rather than having a scrum. And everybody gets one, and then if there's time, if I haven't run out the clock on you yet, then we'll see if we can do some more. So right here, is it Mark again?
It's James.
I'm James, sorry.
So what are you doing here?
This is honestly a fairly routine endeavor for us. As I said, we do it again every 3 or 4 weeks, about as often as we can do it responsibly without taking our eye off what is obviously my main job. But one of the jobs of all of the combatant commanders, I'm one of 6 geographic combatant commanders, and we do owe it to the American people to be accessible to them, to communicate to them what America's sons and daughters are doing, and I think they have a right to know something about those individuals who are privileged to lead those sons and daughters. It's the most awesome responsibility in the world. There are 210,000, actually more than 210,000 soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen in the Central Command Area of Responsibility, which stretches from Egypt in the west to Pakistan in the east, Kazakhstan in the north, down to Yemen in the south. We obviously spend a lot of time out there as well. In just the last few weeks, we're in Kyrgyzstan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and several other countries. So again, we're on the go fairly regularly. I mean, if you want to ask a more direct question than that, something I'll be happy to say.
I'll ask.
We'll get to you in a second. Go ahead.
I'm sure we all, I will just throw it out there. I mean, does it occur to you that coming to New Hampshire would feed the speculation about any?
I was surprised at it, actually. I mean, I thought I'd said no about as many ways as I could. I really do mean no. We have all these artful ways of doing that. We've tried Sherman-esque responses, which everyone goes and finds out what Sherman said. It was pretty unequivocally no, in several different ways. I've tried quoting a country song, what part of no don't you understand? But I mean, I really do mean that. I feel very privileged to have to be able to serve our country in uniform. I'm honored to continue to do that as long as I can contribute, but I will not ever run for political office, I can assure you. And again, we have said that repeatedly, and I'm hoping that people will realize at a certain point, you said it so many times that there's no way you could ever start your career by flip-flopping into it. So anyway.
Well, you can understand why we're so curious, because it's what we do, is we try to figure out.
I didn't quite get this. I didn't actually realize that this is where the debates are conducted either.
Yes.
I was in Iraq in 2007, 2008, when apparently, I guess, there were debates. I just signed up for a college.
Right.
In New Hampshire. I didn't know.
No.
I mean, I do know of St. Anselm College. This is a little bit downstate for us, really, to be truthful, but I mean,
And I know you spoke at Harvard.
is this part of New Hampshire here? Do you, from New London, consider this part of New Hampshire? Is this
But do you think,
a little far south?
to sort of ask my question, I know you spoke at Harvard's IOP in the fall. I know that this
We do this all the
speak
time.
everywhere.
Oh yeah, we
I
go.
guess what I would ask though, even if you were.
I'm not going to Iowa anytime.
Yeah, right, exactly. But if you were not to run, let's say your decision is, I'm not running, that's not why I'm here, I'm not testing the waters.
Oh,
But
no, I'm not.
my question is really this though, if you consider yourself to be a member of one party or another, which party would that be?
I actually stopped voting in 2002, and I certainly won't vote again while I'm in uniform. I think it's known that we were registered as Republicans, but again, I just decided, and that was a small thing, a small personal step in 2002 that I just took on my own. I remember reading General Marshall, someone for whom I have enormous respect, obviously led our military in World War II. At some point in time, it stopped voting in. So I thought, gee, that's probably a pretty good idea, you know, and it turned out to be a little bit more than a good idea, I think. You know, look, I serve a commander-in-chief. There's only one at a time. It's pretty clear. Again, our job is to provide him our best professional military advice, to ensure we really understand the mission that we've been given, to provide recommendations on how to accomplish that mission, and then to use the resources that were provided to indeed do the best we can to achieve that mission. And that's, you know, that's our job. We support the policy at the end of the day. That's what we do, and we take that seriously. So.
Thank you.
Excuse me, the New York Times had a pretty interesting story recently where they noted that the president's public statements about wars in Afghanistan and Iraq have pretty well faded. He hasn't really mentioned either war publicly in a long time in a speech. And I'm curious, in your, you know, obviously.
That's interesting. I missed the article.
Yeah.
And B, that's certainly not the impression those of us who are engaged in those endeavors see the emphasis.
And
in fact, there's enormous focus on this. I mean, I just was in the White House about a week ago Friday for a meeting with the President and his national security team on Afghanistan. I know the very substantial focus that has taken place with Iraq. I mean, there's literally more than daily updates in recent days, in particular as the political process has unfolded there. There's a degree of political drama, as I think there is any time an election result that's still being tabulated. And I can assure you again that the interagency process, which is run by the White House, it's run by the National Security Advisor, the Deputy National Security Advisor, and others, is enormously active. This has been a very, very busy period. In fact, right now we're in Washington. They're hosting the Pakistani Foreign Minister, Defense Minister, and Army Chief. He started his visit to the United States, actually. He was with us over the weekend down in Tampa. We had a number of good sessions with him at Central Command Headquarters, also Special Operations Command Headquarters, which is also co-located at McDill Air Force Base in Tampa. So that's an interesting observation. I guess, I mean, the only explanation I could possibly offer is I assume that just the public focus on healthcare and a couple of other domestic issues probably has overshadowed that. But
that was the focus
yeah.
of the article.
I see.
But in your personal communications with the Commander-in-Chief, how would you describe the frequency of those contacts?
It goes in spurts, and you know, we had an enormous amount of contact during the process of determining the policy for Afghanistan that culminated with the speech at West Point. I think there were 9 or 10 sessions, for example, with the President himself chairing these sessions that I attended. And then typically prior to those, there would be a Principals Committee meeting, which is everyone except for the President in attendance, headed by the National Security Advisor, but it would be the Secretaries of Defense and State, sometimes even the Vice President, and then all the other principals, if you will. And then it would also include the Central Command Commander, the Commander in Afghanistan, the Ambassador of Pakistan, and then we have a 3-star Admiral who is the senior U.S. military officer of Pakistan.